What's up, guys? All right. So, had a question the other day. Can you outgrow addiction? And I guess the answer would be depending on who you ask and what you actually mean by addiction. Okay. So, obviously, we come from a long line of thinking that addiction is forever. Like once an addict, always an addict. And that's important to remember in a way, but it's also important to grow beyond. And let me explain. Okay. So, addiction is a chronic disease and illness, but it can be managed. Okay. And it can be managed chronically, and it can be managed in ways, without medication even. Okay. And so oftentimes there comes a point in someone's life and history that they don't feel like an addict anymore, because they're so far removed from that lifestyle and that history of use. Their surroundings are nothing like they once were. Their routines, the things that they're doing, the things that they're that are important to them. It's not centered around the things that used to be. And I'm not talking about just like making a change, going through a rehab, and coming out and you're a different person in a year or whatever. I'm talking about like 10 years down the road, 10 years of recovery. You're a different person, down that road. And so in a sense, those people are, and I hate to use this word, but it's like they're cured from their addiction. Now, does that mean you can't relapse after you've been sober for long enough? Absolutely not. You most definitely can, and it happens, unfortunately. But a lot of people, once they've been clean long enough, they don't feel that, demon on their shoulder anymore, that itch inside their brain. And that, is kind of like this amazing point in their lives where they can look back. You don't really know when it happens. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that one day you look back and you think, I'm in a different place. But it's not like you just had this magical moment, right? It was more just the process. And through the process, you came to an understanding. And with that understanding, you realized where you were now versus then. So is addiction chronic? Yes. But is it forever? Not necessarily. Not for everybody. But if you struggle, and maybe you've struggled for 10, 15, 20 years, guess what? That can be normal too. And it's unfortunate, right? I've got this patient who, she's got breast cancer, and she's been fighting that thing for 20 years. And they told her 20 years ago she was a goner. But she kind of got on some different experimental chemo, some different treatments that actually worked for her. And she's just been kind of holding on, living her life and everything, right? But my point is, just because somebody says you can't do this or you can't do that, or you can't live this way or you can't live that way, or you'll never be the same again, or you're always going to fight this, or you're going to be cured, in a matter of moments. Everybody's different. And so you have to kind of learn to accept that there are things that help, and there are things that might make you worse, and there are times where you're gonna feel good, and there are going to times when you're gonna feel bad. And just because you struggle with addiction doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. We can get through this, guys. Okay. So, what was my point with the breast cancer stories? That man, people's lives are complicated and they're painful, and they're gritty. But we can learn, right, that through the suffering, we can find growth. Okay, the suffering can be redeemed in a way. So, all right, I hope that was helpful. Maybe I ranted there at the end, but anyway, you guys have a great day. Peace.